Let's talk about one of the most underrated organs in the human body, the gallbladder. Every year, over 600,000 people have this vital organ removed, and they're told you just don't need it anymore. But the gallbladder is essential. It is not optional. And we need it for things like detoxification, hormones, and just overall digestion and vitality. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about what is so important about the gallbladder, the key nutrients that you need to support it. And if you don't have a gallbladder, what can you do to make sure that you're protecting your digestion and your detox pathways so that this particular surgery doesn't have any further downstream effects for you? What's really even more striking is that women are 2 to 3 times more likely to have their gallbladders removed than men. And this is largely hormonal. Oftentimes, even whether you're pregnant or if you've been on birth control, that can affect how your hormones function and affect your bile. And then, of course, during perimenopause, when the estrogen levels are fluctuating, it can make the gallbladder kind of sluggish and the bile will get thick. And that will also affect hormone production as well as our detox pathways. So whether your estrogen is high or just unstable, it's important that we understand how bile flow actually works and why it's constantly being challenged so we can then protect it and support it. This is actually a global problem that affects your whole body. And just because you remove it doesn't mean that you're fine. So today what I'm going to do is connect the dots between your gallbladder, your liver, and your detox pathways and let you know what really happens after it's been removed so you can protect yourself. Because if you've had your gallbladder taken out, have you ever been told what you need to do to protect why the gallbladder went bad to begin with? I doubt it. So what your gallbladder does is it actually makes bile, and bile helps emulsify the fats that you eat. And its job is to actually store and concentrate that bile so that when you eat, you get a strong burst of the bile to then help to digest and emulsify the fats. But it's not just for fat digestion. It actually helps your body absorb fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. And here we are in our winter months and everybody's piling on their vitamin D because we want to protect our immune systems. But if you don't have the building blocks to help your body absorb it, then you're really only getting a fraction of what your body could have. So we also need to understand that bile supports our detoxification process, and that is key. Many people don't understand that when they have their gallbladders removed or if they have gallbladder issues, that a lot of their bloating and their brain fog and bowel movement issues are actually connected to that. So why do gallbladders go bad? People aren't just born with bad gallbladders. It's years of poor digestion, poor eating habits, poor lifestyle habits, and the body just can't keep up. The gut just gets overly stressed. We don't have enough stomach acid to help support the bile. And what ends up happening is these people end up going to things like Tums or acid blockers, and that just compounds the problem and makes it worse. And when the bile ends up getting sluggish and thick, that starts to put you at risk for stones. So gallstones, many people have heard of gallstones. And then when that gets too bad, then we just remove it. And so we have to understand that we have to then start to look at what are our dietary and lifestyle habits. What are the things that have brought us to this path to begin with? And of course, in women, as women get older and we start to get into perimenopause and menopause, and we get these hormonal shifts. And of course, fluctuations in estrogen can help to thicken that bile. And then that puts women at even more risk for gallstones and gallbladder issues. So we have to really pay attention to, we don't just have a bad gallbladder, it's really just a poor lifestyle and liver issue. So let's unpack that for a minute. Your gallbladder depends on certain nutrients to help keep the bile thin, moving, and toxin-free. And many people are missing those nutrients to begin with because of these poor lifestyle habits. So your gallbladder doesn't actually have the building blocks that it needs to then create good, proper bile flow. And so when the nutrients are missing, we end up getting that bile that gets thick and sluggish, and that's when inflammation starts, and then we can start to get stones that'll get started. So I'm going to talk to you about the 7 foods that you can eat that have the key nutrients, key building block nutrients that will help your gallbladder. And the first one is choline. Choline actually helps to keep the bile flowing, and it helps with the fat emulsification so that it doesn't get gunked up and backed up into the liver. We find choline mostly in eggs, liver, salmon, or other fatty fish, cruciferous vegetables, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower. And the beauty of choline is that it's also great for the brain. So for anybody who's having any kind of like mental fog or sleep issues or forgetfulness, just fatigue in the head, in the brain, your brain's just tired, choline is excellent for that. And as I was putting together this video, I'm thinking, I'm going to tell people to eat eggs and liver, and they're going to go, oh my God, we still have this narrative that eggs are bad, liver's bad, it's too fat. And listen, eat the eggs. The yolks are so healthy for you. Don't avoid the yolks. Stop getting egg white omelets. You need those yolks. You need that healthy fat. It's too high in cholesterol. You know what? You need the healthy cholesterol. It's full of choline. Your liver and your hormones function on cholesterol. So why wouldn't you fuel that pathway? So don't be afraid of the eggs, and just that's going to help your brain, and it's going to help the gallbladder. The other things we need are amino acids like taurine and glycine. And what these do is they actually help to bind the bile acids and helps to detoxify the hormones. Now, what's important about that is, we're going to come up to the beginning of the year when everybody's going to be talking about we need to be doing detoxes. And there's a lot of bad, unhealthy detoxes out there. So don't fall for it. Follow this channel so you make sure that you get the right information about how to detoxify in a healthy way. Because most of these detoxes, they don't have the proper amino acids to support the liver and the gallbladder during detoxification. So you actually can create a worse situation. We don't want to do that. So where do we get taurine and glycine? Mostly in pasture-raised poultry, grass-fed beef, bone broth. So I encourage everybody, start making bone broth for the winter months. It's so great for your digestion overall, your detoxification pathways. You feel better. It actually will help your microbiome in your gut, and it just tastes great. So I always encourage everybody, make bone broth. I make chicken bone broth and I make beef bone broth. I made beef bone broth this weekend, and it was amazing. Any kind of wild fish, and then collagen or gelatin. And of course, that's where it's, you can eat some of the, when you make the bone broth, like especially if you get knuckle bones from a cow or like knee bones, that kind of thing, you're going to get all that collagen. Or I also use chicken feet when I make my chicken broth, and that is full of collagen and gelatin. And so you're eating that or drinking that, and that contains those really essential amino acids for you for digestion. The next nutrient is vitamin C. And vitamin C actually helps prevent cholesterol from crystallizing and forming those stones. So where do we get vitamin C? We get that in citrus, right? Everybody knows that. But also in bell peppers, things like kiwi, broccoli, your leafy greens. And I would encourage you to this is where you also want to have bitter leafy greens. So things like broccoli and kale, they're going to have really high in the cruciferous, the sulforaphane, which actually sulforaphane is excellent for cancer fighting. But then we want to eat greens that are bitter, like endive, arugula, and dandelion greens, things like that. And those are just excellent sources of prebiotics and vitamin C. The next nutrient is magnesium. So magnesium helps to relax the bile ducts. It regulates bile release. So any kind of that stickiness or sluggishness, we're going to get better release having magnesium in our diet. We get magnesium from spinach, pumpkin seeds, almonds, avocado, and my favorite, dark chocolate. So I made a salad today for lunch. I still had tomatoes from my garden, and I put tomatoes. I had avocado, so I got all my magnesium there, and a little bit of olive oil, and I put pumpkin seeds on top, and it was delicious. And then, of course, we want to have our healthy fats, and healthy fats help stimulate bile flow. If we don't have enough fat, then that bile production can shut down. So it's important that we have good bile flow. We can't have low-fat diets. They don't work. So we need to eat the fat, and of course, in healthy forms, avocado, olive oil, nuts, seeds, and of course, wild salmon and other forms of fatty fish. And then number 6 is fiber. So fiber is critical. Most of us aren't getting enough fiber, and fiber helps to bind toxins so we can eliminate the waste products. And so we need that fiber to make sure that it's taking up any of the used bile and getting rid of it. Now, this doesn't mean that you can get away with taking Metamucil every day. If you're somebody who's taking a fiber supplement every day, I would encourage you to take a good, strong look at your daily intake of foods and what are you having that doesn't have enough natural fibers. Now, from a nutrient perspective, I'm a firm believer that we can't get all of our nutrients from food, but we can get all of our fiber from food. So start to think about, are you taking something like that every day? And if you are, you've probably had poor digestive habits for years. You're not having regular bowel movements. And so we have to work on that fiber intake. So that's going to be things like chia seed, flaxseed, oats, apples, beans, and veggies. And so you want to start to include things like that into your diet as well. And then we get bitter herbs. Okay, so bitter herbs, this is like waking up bile production. So this is where we're going to get, we want to have, going back to the arugula, the dandelion greens, artichoke, ginger, lemon water, and then just I'm sorry, it says bitters and herbs. So bitters, but bitter herbs, that's your arugula and dandelion greens. And then bitters is, you ever had bitters in a cocktail? If you're ever having any kind of digestive issues and you're out, you just ask the bartender, can you put some bitters in some club soda for me? And it will knock out any digestive issues that you're having. So let's go into after the gallbladder is removed and what happens. So when the gallbladder is removed, bile will still get made, but instead of it being stored, now you get this continuous trickling of bile into your intestines. And the problem with that is it's very inflammatory. And so you no longer get a burst of it when you eat, but it's always in there. And fats don't get broken down properly. And so they ferment, you get bloated, and the problem is you're not connecting your bloating and your digestive issues because you're thinking, why the gallbladder removed? I shouldn't be having any issues. It's super backwards, and no one teaches you this. So that's why I just felt it was so important that we talked about this process and the gallbladder and making sure that you have this proper information. So what then happens is, because you're not breaking down your nutrients properly and you're not getting rid of them properly, you start missing out on your fat soluble vitamins, your vitamin A. Vitamin A is great for eyes. It's great for the brain. Vitamin D is great for everything. Immune function, it's great for the brain. Vitamin E and K, same thing. So these are key nutrients that are required also for detoxification and to keep our hormones in balance. So your hormones will get out of sync, and then your liver has to work overtime. And we see a lot of people post gallbladder surgery, and they still struggle with bloating, fatigue, constipation, skin issues, brain fog, and they never really connect it back to the surgery. So I'm connecting the dots for you. So how do we support your body when it doesn't have a gallbladder? Well, we just talked about the 7 foods that you can eat, and there's some supplements that I'm going to recommend, and I'm going to put them down in the show notes for you, so you can go ahead and hit that link and you can go over and start taking them regularly. I always recommend digestive enzymes for the stomach, so some betaine, hydrochloric acid, and then of course enzymes for the gallbladder itself. And I'll link those below for you so you can go and look at that digestive protocol. And I would encourage you, get on this, because if you don't have proper gallbladder support, then what happens is things are going to start backing up into the liver as well. And we have an alarming amount of people who are getting diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Well, why is that? And the people, I just heard it again the other day. Oh yeah, and my aunt never had a drink in her life. She's got non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It's because of this, because poor digestion, poor detox pathways. It's been gunked up for years, and nobody told this woman or anyone else struggling with that how to manage it. So think about taking bile salts or digestive bitters or digestive enzymes, as I'll post below, before your meals. making sure you're supporting your liver with all your essential amino acids and milk thistle, and then eating healthy fats in moderation. So you definitely need those fats, but you can't have an abundance of them because it's going to make things worse. And then making sure that you're getting your fiber and your leafy greens every single day. So lunchtime, dinner time, breakfast. Breakfast can no longer be a piece of toast with peanut butter or honey on it. Like, you've got to really up your game there. Oatmeal, but it can't have sweetener in it. That's where you might want to start your day off with eggs and a little more protein heavy, and maybe some eggs, tomatoes, cucumbers at breakfast. And that can really start your day. So if you're still struggling with these symptoms, you can also do functional testing. That's where someone like me would come in, where I can actually do gut testing on you. I could just do basic labs, and we can actually see what the function of the liver, the gallbladder is doing, and what your gut looks like. Is there an overgrowth of bacteria that shouldn't be there? Why are you bloated all the time? Let's get to that answer so you can feel more comfortable in your body. So think about this. Your gallbladder didn't fail overnight. It took many years for it to get there. And it's the result of how your body's been processing stress and foods and hormones over time. And so removing it may stop the pain, but it doesn't take away the why. So whether you still have your gallbladder or not, we have to support the liver, we have to support the gallbladder and the detox pathways. And that bile health is not negotiable for digestion, detox, and hormones. It is just not. And so that's why I help patients every single day look beyond those symptoms and create a plan to restore function. So if this sounds familiar and you've had your gallbladder removed, I would love to know down in the comments, what have you done for it? Have you ever been taught these principles or how to take care of the why it went bad to begin with? Let me know. And if you want to keep your gallbladder and you know that you have issues with it, then you might want to reach out and let's get an appointment. But my whole goal is to uncover what your liver and your digestion are really telling you and build a plan so that you can get back to your body's own healing rhythm. Remember, your gallbladder wasn't a mistake of nature. You just had a lifetime of things that built up on it, and it's just the downstream effect. So let's start to support that and get it back on track. I hope you found that helpful. Send this to somebody who could use this information about gallbladder health. I know it's probably not the sexiest topic, but boy, this is an underserved topic. So I always appreciate you being here. I thank you so much, and make sure you're subscribing on the way out, and I will see you on the next one.